The morning we woke up in Hudson's Bay was a dark morning. It was a darkness that had washed over the dudes. A darkness darker than a black steer's tuchus on a moonless night. We had achieved something that was a milestone for the trip. We had achieved roughly the halfway point of the Trans-Canada Adventure Trail. But there was a much darker achievement. It was the achievement of using up all of our available time for this trip. We were on day 35 of our total of 37 allowable days that we had for the trip. Through lost income and expenses, we had been averaging probably about 15 grand a piece at this point. So yeah, it was time to pack it in and get back to work. Okay, so we'll run everybody through these fuel bladders. They're kind of an interesting thing, kind of new on the market these last couple of years, I guess. And so they're a fabric fuel bladder. Dan has a 4-liter extra one. Dan has also Yasurbi's fuel tank, which adds another 4 liters to your fuel. So you got another 4 liters to his fuel here. And so on mine, I'm running the stock tank, so I've got 4 liters less fuel in the tank, and I have the bladder, which is almost 8 liters here, so I'm getting making up for that extra fuel with the larger bladder. So together we've got the same amount of fuel, and both powering the 250cc bikes. Also, in here, my baggage, I carry an extra tank of fuel, and if I can get that one out of there. So this is an extra liter of fuel as well. And during that section of Labrador, I believe it was 406 kilometers. So just for insurance, I have yet another one of these, and that got us all the way through. Now I'll need 2 hands to put that back in. So anyway, that's our fuel situation, and that's got us through. So we did use all of the two red bottles, and also everything out of the bladder and the main fuel tank to get through the Labrador Highway between gas stops, between I think it was the Quebec border, a little bit north of there, and up to Goose Bay. That was probably the longest stretch, which did require all of those fuel cells to get through. If you have a larger ADV bike, obviously you know your gas mileage and your fuel range. A lot of them will definitely get you that 400 kilometers, but a lot of them won't as well. So anyway, for the 250s, that's what we required. And these fuel bladders are great because once they're emptied, you just roll them up into a really tight little ball, and they don't take anywhere near as much room as the traditional plastic jugs, the traditional red jerry cans. So anyway, we are going to leave here at Nippon, and we're going to head into the next stage. We're hitting gravel probably in the next 20 kilometers, and the rest of that 256 section will be gravel, apparently. Don't know, but update on the other side. All right, cheers. Packing up and leaving Hudson Bay early in the morning, we decided to go to Tisdale instead of following the TCAT route. Dan and I had a mutual friend who grew up in Tisdale and talked about it frequently, so we wanted to go and check it out since we were right near it.
After arriving in Tisdale and realizing that it was a city akin to New York or Paris, maybe Vegas, but not really, we decided to head back onto the TCAT route from there and up to Nipawin. The section of the TCAT route from Nipawin over to St. Albert, Saskatchewan was the last part of the TCAT route that we could possibly do before we absolutely had to throw in the towel and crank the throttles open and head back to Edmonton, because this was a Thursday, I believe, and I was due back at work in BC on Monday morning. Despite the weather and the challenges, I was not in the mood to end the trip at this point. Not at all. Not even close. So this was a real punch in the gut to me. Probably Dan too. We never really did discuss it that much, but that's the way I felt anyway. On a positive note, we made it to Prince Albert on the trail, and Prince Albert is only a day away from Edmonton, which is great. So for us to pick up the trail and finish the trip through the rest of Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia is not going to be that difficult whatsoever. So that that is an achievement right there for us. Now, something that everybody needs to know about the TCAT route is that it goes through rural Canada. And getting a good cup of coffee in rural Canada is pretty much impossible. I mean, there are a few places that you're going to get a great cup of coffee. There's no question about it. But for the vast majority, it's kind of like going back, 3 decades or so, in terms of your coffee expectations. There's no Starbucks. There's no espressos. It's pretty rough for coffee. So the two of us are quite accustomed to espresso and getting some quality coffee. So I think at this point we came out of this section of the trail, which was 200 plus kilometers. We had to refuel on the way. No gas stations, so we were really craving a nice cup of coffee at the end of this section of the trail. And it basically spat us out into another small town in Saskatchewan, which we love. This is why we're doing it. But at this point, we both wanted a great cup of coffee. And now I'm not going to talk about the town or the diner. It is, and the coffee here wasn't even that bad. It's not like it was bad. It just wasn't what we wanted. And it's what we expected, but not what we wanted. Now, one of the things that I thought was quite shocking about Saskatchewan and northern Manitoba is how these little towns, I mean, they've probably been like this for a long time, but the way that they're so quiet, it's really difficult to really get your head around this, because I don't know how some of the businesses actually survive in these towns. And I would say, just at a glance from an outsider, that a lot of these towns are dying. Maybe they've been like this for decades. I don't know, because, I'm a tourist here. I don't know. I haven't been here before. But when I go through these towns and there is nobody, you can go right through the middle of one of these towns at noon on a Wednesday, and there's one car parked. You know, I mean, I've owned a retail store in the past, and I know that there's no way I could make ends meet with that kind of customer traffic. But at the same time, I do find it fascinating how some of these businesses actually do exist in this environment. And, it's, if you really like quiet towns, you're going to find them all over the place in central Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, for sure. And it's something that I'm just not used to.
So Dan ordered nachos. He just wanted nachos so bad tonight. We're in this fancy pub in Prince Albert. So we get the nachos. I asked for extra cheese because, you know, sometimes you just want some extra cheese. So the nachos come with like liquid 7-Eleven style cheese. And the extra cheese comes in a bowl. Last day, packing up camp. Mark's waiting for his tent to dry over there. Lots of condensation last night. Got kind of cold. Mine's all done, ready to go. Hit some breakfast and coffee before the last 6 to 8 hours ride into Edmonton on highway. Should be the best day of the trip. Probably not. It's gonna be horrible. Uh-oh. So yeah, now we got to get back home, go back to work, find some time to put all this footage together and throw a video out.
When I was a child, back in the early 80s, the smell of coffee and cigarettes, coffee and cigarettes, coffee and cigarettes, the coffee slowly evaporating in a big glass decanter, the smell of burnt coffee. Only thing that could tame this beast was Widener. Sugar, sugar, sugar burnt coffee, cream and sugar, burnt coffee, cream and sugar. Saskatchewan small town diners, town after town, these coffee moonshiners. It's a slow death for these Java junkies. We need our fix. Burnt coffee, cream and sugar. Burnt coffee, cream and sugar. Burnt coffee, cream and sugar. Saskatchewan, you take me back to a time when I was young, a time with a simple tongue. Days were spent working. Burnt coffee, cream, sugar, cigarettes. Burnt coffee, cream and sugar. Burnt coffee, cream, sugar. Saskatchewan's towns are dying like when I was young. There's no sense in crying. There's always another one.
So, Mark, how far did we ride after lunch before stopping for coffee?
Well, it must have been 20 minutes at least.
Yeah,
The last call.
maybe even like 18 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 18 minutes. I think, but you can't pass up something like this. So
Nope.
it's a real gem in the middle of Saskatchewan.
Who would have thought?
Drinking coffee from coffee pots that have been boiling for hours on a hot flame for way too long. So this is I didn't. No, we couldn't pass this.
There's
one.
no way. We did a U-turn. Tires squealing.
I what did I say about your the last coffee pot kind of looked like the window on my brake cleaning or my brake fluid
Window?
window, yeah, on the yeah. So it's pretty muddy. Yeah, I could barely tell what the level in the coffee pot was because you couldn't see through the glass.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we've been drinking lately. So
Pretty nice place.
there was no passing this one.
Nope.
I just got to talk about this for a second. I'm standing parked in the middle of this highway because we've been riding these roads all day long. And the traffic here is so light that, yes, you can do this. You can vlog in the middle of the road in the middle of the day. That's freaking awesome. If you're riding a little dirt bike across Alberta or Saskatchewan, this is fun stuff because there's just nobody to hassle you, like push you along. You know, just the odd car comes up behind you, but let them go. You know, you can cruise along all day long here across the whole province on a 250, and you know, it's fun. Anyway, oh, here comes a cart. Anyway, yeah, over and out. Good times, great roads, super fun.